Okay, welcome to the March 9th Thursday chat. We got a fairly busy schedule and we're starting off with a raffle. So we will turn it over to raffle headquarters.
Bonnie, yeah, why don't you get into the yak here?
Okay, thank you so much, Jerry, and
Move over.
I got it. Thank you so much, Jerry, and thank you to this amazing Newbridge community. You have been so generous and so supportive. And I want to start with a thank you to each one of you who's purchased a raffle ticket and to every one of our amazing ticket sellers. They have done such a wonderful job of building community, knocking on your doors, calling you on the phone, and your response has been spectacular. We are almost at 400 tickets sold. We are just 9 tickets away at 391, and I am sure by the time this day is done, there will be at least 9 more tickets purchased. So we say thank you so much and want everybody to be reminded of why we're doing this. And so we are going to turn to Faye Busgang, who is going to show us a very short testimonial from one of our staff and one of the recipients of the scholarship, Pauline Webley. And then we will come back to headquarters and have the master of the raffle, Mr. Paul Hardiman, and Christina and Victor will be the winner, the people who will be drawing the winners for us today. Hold on to your tickets. Thank you, Faye.
Actually, Victor, when you do get all right, what the people see makes them up, because the shit is to the
Oh, she can't get it started. Oh, not again. Not again. How do we?
Oh,
Pauline Webley.
Webley.
Webley. Okay. What, can we just stop it? What do we do?
And she's at UMass.
okay. I think we better, we can see the sincerity on her face. I think we'll assume everything and she's saying and move on, Bonnie.
Okay.
Jerry, Pauline is a member of the programming team. And if you wish, I could tell you a little bit about how she uses the generous funds that she's been receiving from Newbridge residents. A few years ago, Pauline is a program coordinator in our memory support community. She actually belongs to the first generation of our team. She's been with Newbridge for 14 years. And a few years ago, she came with the idea of getting licensed to become a flower arranger. And she's been taking courses for several years now and improving her skills and talent to the benefit of our resident. She runs flower arranging classes in both memory support and traditional assisted living. And guess what? I've been talking with her about maybe have a class in the independent living as well.
So I think I can make it work now. Let's see.
Okay, we'll give it another try.
To our wonderful resident at New Britain, Charles. I'm Pauline Webley, Program Coordinator.
Do you hear her?
And
Yes.
Yes,
certified floral designer. I am grateful for the scholarship from the residents at Newbridge, which allowed me to take classes in floral designing. I have done 2 courses, and I want to continue with the advanced course, which I already registered for in May of this year. And I want to thank everyone that contributed to this scholarship. And without that, I wouldn't be able to do this course, and I thank you.
Okay.
You're on.
Sorry that it didn't work before. It's was slightly different than when I practiced it with Jerry.
Thank you.
Okay, back to Raffle Central.
Raffle headquarters, Jerry. Thank you, Fay. Again, that another touching story as to the benefits of raffle and the educational possibilities for our employees. That was very, very touching. And I do know Pauline has contributed her newfound skills to floral displays, in long-term care and memory support. So, you know, this has proven to be a very, very worthwhile activity, and I am really shocked and surprised that we're pushing 400 ticket sales over the last. You know, when we started this 3 years ago, it was inconceivable that we'd ever get to that number, but the generosity of our residents here in Newbridge continue to amaze me. And this is our 3rd drawing. We've already had 18 winners in the previous 2 drawings. 10 won each 5 pints of ice cream on Sunday, Thursday. And last week we had 8 additional winners. And this week in today's drawing, we'll have 7 winners. And again, let me just run through quickly the prizes. We'll have 2 one-hour personal training hours with Christina, and we'll have a set of quilted bowl caddies for the microwave, compliments of Judy Weinberg, and Bonnie displays them here. I don't know whether you can see them.
They are spectacular.
And we have 2 Red Sox tickets donated by Lou Wolf, which will be drawn today. And we also have 2 framed photographs by Sheila Pele. There's some examples here being displayed. These were also prizes last year, which proved to be very, very popular among the residents. And we'll also have 1 VIP private dining experience courtesy of Food and Beverage. And today we have a celebrity drawers. We have Christina Rice, who, as you know, runs our gym and physical health center. And we have Victor Fataldo, who's our top security person and the campus's top crime fighter.
Looks so different with a beard. The campus is crime fighting.
So today, why don't we find out who holds the lucky tickets?
And there
Christina?
are 2 winners for Christina's personal training.
I'm gonna mix these up really, really good to avoid any controversy. All right, everyone's gonna.
Don't look.
No,
Making sure everything's legal,
yeah, everything's legal on the up and up.
no crime.
All right, I'm gonna defer to my partner.
Oh, am I picking?
Now, these we're going to pick 2 winners for personal training with Christina.
All right, the first winner is Abby Young.
She won last week too.
Oh, she's a hot ticket
Nice.
then.
Congratulations, Abby. All right.
Slipping away. All right.
Thank you, wow.
Looking forward to seeing you soon, Abby.
Abby's making a business of this.
And personal training session number 2 goes to Joan Porvu.
Congratulations, Joan.
Yeah. All right, I'll hold for you.
All right.
And now we have a set of quilted bowl caddies for the microwave. Again, compliments of Judy Weinberg.
All right. Nancy Coomer.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Nancy Coomer.
Congratulations, Nancy. And now we have.
Wow.
Thank you. Great.
We have 2 Red Sox tickets donated by Lou Wolf.
Linda Savinor.
Wow.
Congratulations, Linda.
Now we're going to have 2 winners for framed photographs from Sheila Palais.
And they actually get to choose them from a group of about 10. So they'll pick the ones they love best.
All
The
right.
first winner is
Raya Drebin. Congratulations, Raya.
and now for the second winner.
A good one.
They're all good ones.
Harriet
Harriet Berkowitz.
Berkowitz. Okay, the cursive. Harriet Berkowitz. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Harriet. And lastly, we have a drawing for a VIP dinner experience courtesy of Food and Beverage.
All right. To Barbara Sherman.
Barbara Sherman,
She won last week. Some people are lucky.
congratulations
That's why you buy early.
to all the
Good.
winners, and certainly enjoy your prizes. And thank you, guest drawers. Remember, today's winners purchase tickets, and they and all past winners will be eligible to win one of the grand prizes. And that drawing is going to take place on March 16th. And as part of the effort to create a very exciting grand drawing experience, this will be the last broadcast from raffle headquarters in the executive conference room. Next Thursday, the grand drawing will take place in Great Meadow Hall. So we're shutting down raffle headquarters until next year. But remember, mark your calendars, the grand drawing will take place at 7:15 in Great Meadow Hall. There will be a drawing, and I'll go through the prizes in a moment. There'll be entertainment provided by a great nationally known comedian named Warren Shine. And that will be followed by a absolutely terrific dessert reception put on by Food and Beverage. Now, the prizes next week will be really be 2 stages to the drawing. The first will be a drawing for a beer tasting for 6 people with hosted by Steve Caldwell, and he certainly knows his way around a can of beer. And there'll be a chef's dinner for 4 with Matt Hollingshead, and that will be terrific because, you know, with the boss at the table, it's going to be good. And also added to this pool of prizes will be 2 more Red Sox tickets. And let me just comment for a moment. Last week, Naomi Webb won 2 Red Sox tickets, and she realized that she probably couldn't use them. And rather than waste them, she contributed them back into the Newbridge Scholarship Fund raffle, which I thought was a very, very gracious and considerate thing to do. So there'll be 2 additional Red Sox tickets available next week. Now, those winners, along with all other winners and all people who own tickets, will be eligible for the 3 grand prize drawings. And again, you've heard me say this many times, the 3rd grand prize will be a $500 credit against your rent. The second one will be a $1,500 credit against your rent. And the first grand prize, the big one, will be a $3,000 credit against your rent. Now, to be eligible again, you have to have a ticket. And don't worry, our ticket sellers are not resting until just before the grand drawing. They will continue to roam the campus to make sure every resident has an opportunity to participate in the raffle and support the scholarship fund. So I look forward to seeing you all next week, next Thursday at 7:15. All are welcome. You don't have to have a ticket to get in. All residents are welcome. And I believe, Michael, just to check this out, is it on 9/18?
Yes.
It's on 9/18
But
for
you'll have-
those of you that can't make Great Meadow Hall. So again, thank you for all your support. The tally to date in terms of tickets that have been purchased, I find absolutely incredible. And hopefully we'll continue this trend and have a great grand drawing evening next Thursday at 7:15 at Great Meadow Hall. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. It's wonderful what we're doing there.
Great
Yeah,
job.
we have a number of announcements. Sharon Gouveia comes next.
Thank you, Jerry. And Faye is going to do a screen sharing. So you're going to hear my voice, but you're going to see factual information. So you're not only getting it on audio, but also video. Okay. You know, we all live in a community and we have got to know new residents, made new friends, met new neighbors. And have you ever thought about what they may have looked like when they were between the ages of 15 and 30? Well, with the Hospitality Committee and the Community Life Team, we are giving you an opportunity to come look at photos of what we looked like when we were between those ages. But we can't do it without your help. We need the photos in order to identify you. So please submit your photos, either a hard copy with your name on the back, to either Joe at the concierge desk or to Christina. And if you have a picture that is on your computer, you can email it or send it to Christina. So we look forward to seeing you on April 1st. Yes, it is April Fool's Day, but April 1st at 2 o'clock in Great Meadow Hall. So be sure to send in your pictures. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Orkins.
Thanks, Jerry. I just wanted to remind everyone that on March 15th at 3:30 in the afternoon via Zoom, we will be privileged to hear from Yossi Klein Halevi, who is a fellow at the Hartman Institute in Jerusalem. He is a noted author, commentator, has written for a number of publications, and he will help us understand what is happening in Israel today, much of what you've been reading about in the newspaper, but sometimes difficult to understand, and certainly difficult to know how to respond. Hopefully, we'll also be able to schedule for the next day a discussion of what we've heard from Yossi. If that's possible, Larissa will let us know. But everybody, please join us on March 15th at 3:30 via Zoom. The link has been sent out, and I'm sure it'll be sent out again before next week. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Bob. And Mitch Freeman.
All right. I put out this circular. This is from the Norwood Theater for the whole year, and I put copies down by the mailbox underneath the bulletin board. All this stuff they have in the Norwood Theater was an old theater that was renovated, really nice theater, plenty of parking, plenty of restaurants, and they have comedy nights. They have tribute bands. They have an interesting play called Jekyll and Hyde, the musical, which was coming from Broadway. So if you look at this, you can see it. There's extra copies down there. And also, I didn't get one from the TCAN in Natick, and you have to go online to look, and they got a bunch of stuff coming up. So all these things are local, easy to get to, no parking problems. And the other thing is, if some people are still cautious about COVID, it's out there, but you do what I do, and I just get an aisle seat and wear a mask, and I have no problems. So these are some local things for you can do for because there's a lot of stuff coming up, and there's, look it up. But there's plenty of those circulars down by the mailboxes on the counter. And if you have any questions, you get back to me.
Okay, thank you. Josh Ferraro.
Thank you, Jerry. And good afternoon, everyone. Couple of quick items. Tomorrow in the foodie, you will see the initial information for Passover. That will include some timelines and dining options. It will include menu previews and order forms, and then some general information about the Seders in Great Meadow Hall. So if there are any additional questions, we try to be as detailed as possible. You can reach out to a member of the food and beverage team with any additional questions. We will be having a couple of St. Patrick's themed menus next week on Thursday night in Nosh, and then on Friday night in Centro. You will see St. Patty's Day inspired menu items on both those nights in the different restaurants. And then finally, we had talked last week a little bit about staffing getting better. And as many of you may have seen, we are down to one buffet night in Centro. The Friday night, we were able to staff accordingly and eliminate the need for the buffet in the main dining room in Centro on Tuesdays. With that, we are going to start to allow guests for dinner, beginning with Nosh on a limited basis, Monday through Fridays, starting this Monday. So again, starting this Monday, you will be able to reserve and have up to 2 guests per household for dinner when dining in Nosh on Monday through Friday. Strongly recommend reservations. Residents with reservations will have priority over walk-ins. And on Shabbat nights, you must reserve and also include the menu selections for your guests if you are inviting them to Shabbat dinner on Friday. Jerry, thank you. Those are the announcements that I had, most of which the information will be in the foodie tomorrow.
Thanks, Josh. And now Rabbi Judy Ehrlich.
Hi, everybody. I have 2 announcements. The one is about a drop-in group that I will be holding tomorrow together with Laurie Feldman, our social worker. It'll take place at 1 o'clock in the Interfaith Chapel, and it is about, it's hoped to be an opportunity for residents who wish to process some of their feelings about when you find yourself witnessing a medical emergency in our community, which can be a traumatic and upsetting experience. As you don't need me to tell you that there are too often occasions where residents witness somebody in our community struggling between life and death before your very eyes, and that is, for many people, really difficult to watch and to process. And so if you would like to come and share your thoughts and just get some support for the fact that we do live in a community where these kinds of scary things happen from time to time. I don't think either Laurie or I have some great wisdom, but I think there is wisdom in having a place to share how you feel. So it's tomorrow from 1 until 2 in the Interfaith Chapel. On another note, I would like to let people know that tomorrow evening at the Shabbat service, our friend Nancy Kuma will be celebrating the 21st anniversary of her adult bat mitzvah. And she, some time ago, sent me the sermon she wrote for that occasion. And it was so beautiful that I just said to her, Nancy, you have to give this sermon to our congregation when the correct week comes around. And it's come around, so I invite you to come and hear Nancy's beautiful words of wisdom that I think you'll find inspiring, not to put Nancy under any pressure or anything. 5 o'clock in the synagogue tomorrow. Those are my announcements.
Okay, thank you. Terry, you have your hand raised. Is that for an announcement or a question? Unmute, I'll do it. Go ahead.
So yes, it's a question, and it goes back to the announcement earlier about Jose Klein Halevi. And for those of us who may not be available to or have the opportunity to watch or listen to the discussion, will it be recorded?
Yes.
So we can hear it some other time.
Great.
Yes, Terry, I will be recording the program.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. And Larissa, you and Bonnie Fisher are on. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'd like to mention the new program that will begin this Saturday. This is our effort to bring more programs and events over the weekends. And this Saturday, we are gonna do a session of Brain Boosters. A member of programming team, Bonnie Fisher, will meet you in the library at 11:15 for a fun way to exercise your brain. Bonnie has been part of the programming team for, I would say, 5 years now, doing a lot of different things, and now it's her turn to bring her wisdom and knowledge to independent living and humor and sweet personality. Bonnie, are you here? She was not sure whether she would be able to join. I really encourage you to give it a try. So
Here, I saw her.
Oh, okay, Bonnie, where are you?
Huh.
Right there she is.
Well,
she's unmuted, but she sounds mute.
Interesting.
Well, you better go on, Larissa. And
So I think it's even more reason for you to get curious and to come this Saturday, so you can meet Bonnie and experience it. I have to tell you, I've been part of her Brain Booster several times, and she's tough. With the sweetness, she gives you the questions that are challenging, but also a lot of fun. So I hope that you will give it a try. So as I said, in March, we're planning to do it twice. Tomorrow, or not tomorrow, tomorrow is Friday, on the 11th and on the 25th. Thank you.
thank you. So now we're going to hear from a department that I have never heard this name before in Hebrew Senior Life. It is the Mind Imagery and Neural Dynamics Lab. And Psyche Louie is here to talk to us about music-based research. Go ahead, Psyche.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's great to see all of your faces and on this Zoom screen. So I'm actually calling from Brookline, but my lab and we're part of Northeastern University's Department of Music, and it's also part of the Center for Cognitive and Brain Health. So if I may share, oh, is it possible to enable my screen sharing?
Let me fix it for you.
So we're in Boston.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Great. So we're based at Northeastern University, and this is the inside of the building where we are. And it's a really lovely environment where we get to do research in music and the brain. So we have some jam rooms, and we have access to magnetic resonance imaging and MRI brain scanner. And we also look at musical sounds. So we record people singing or clapping and try to analyze that those sounds. And we also have facilities for recording electrical potentials from the brain. So in the past 20 years or so, my lab has been really interested in a couple of questions. One is more philosophical questions. Why do we have music, right? Why, after all, music is something that we all enjoy. I don't have to teach you to dance along to music, to enjoy music, but we want to know why we have music. And we also want to know how we can use that information to help those who need it the most. And some of that comes from developmental studies, looking at, for example, children and the effects of music training on brain development. So this is my daughter. She's a little bit bigger now, but she plays violin. And so music training has been associated with improved academic performance and improved cognitive and neuropsychological performance. And so we're interested in understanding why that is. We also are interested in music as a form of therapy, or music as a form of intervention for older adults for maintaining cognitive and brain health. And then for those of us who are in the middle of our lifespans, we're interested in why music may help, or when music may help for people to focus. Right? So some people, especially college-aged students that I'm working with, report that they need to listen to music when they work. And then there are some people who say that they cannot use music when they work. So why is it that, what is music doing for focus? And quite generally, we know that music is important for stimulating multiple areas of the brain. And we've known that music has an effect on health since the ancient Greek times. In fact, Apollo, the god of medicine, was also the god of music. So there's been this relationship between music and medicine since ancient times. But in the past couple of years, there's really been a renaissance of understanding how musical components such as melody or rhythm or harmony can be put together to develop music-based interventions that can engage different parts of the brain. And so that's something that our lab, the Music Imaging and Neurodynamics, or MIND lab, is really especially interested in understanding. So I'm just going to demonstrate a little bit some of the kinds of behavioral tasks that we use. So if you don't mind, I'm going to do this live. And so this is a project that a former student, Anna Krotinger, who at some point you might meet, she's now a medical student at Harvard. And what she did her thesis on was looking at people tapping in time to music. So if you don't mind, I got a new mandolin today. So I'm going to play it. And I would love for you to, you guys seem very nice and engaged. I would love for you to humor me by putting your finger to your thumb and tapping in time to the music. And hopefully I'll try to play fairly rhythmically. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Okay, I've not done this before. Okay. All right, could you guys hear that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So hopefully that was enough for you to be able to tap in time to music. And that's exactly the type of task, or just tap in time to music, that Anna Krotinger did in people who were participating in a dancing intervention. And this is for people with Parkinson's disease and their caregivers and their spouses. And this is a program that is done in 45 different sites around the world. But what she did was she assessed Parkinson's symptoms before and after 4 months of dance intervention. And she saw a reduction in Parkinsonian symptoms after 4 months of dancing. And furthermore, she saw that how consistent you are at tapping in time to music was predictive of how much you improve from that intervention. So that was a very exciting experiment and study for us. But of course, we know that music moves us in many different ways. You might be moved emotionally without necessarily moving in time to music. And so this emotional change is something that we can observe by looking at brain structure and function. And we do this using functional MRI or magnetic resonance imaging. And so in our lab, we have people listen to music, different kinds of music, and we have both older adults who are age 50 and above, and young adults who are usually college students come in and do our experiments where we're listening to music and rating them. And so this is a picture from Alex Belden, who is one of my lab members who's here on this call. And what part of his dissertation was showing that when you're listening to music that you love, and that's regardless of age, you tend to engage more brain areas. So it does seem like music that you love especially engages the reward areas of the brain, which is useful for motivating many different kinds of behavior. But then what we also did was working with music therapists from Berklee College of Music and neurologists from the Brigham and Women's Hospital developed a 8-week, 2-month music listening intervention. And we scanned these older adults' brains before and after the intervention. So working with music therapists and then looking at brain activity before and after. And what we found was that there was an improvement in brain connectivity between the hearing areas of the brain and the reward sensitive areas of the brain. So this is something we're very excited about, and we'd like to move this towards first of all, using music to look into improving cognition, right? Improving memory function. And then secondly, looking at more time-sensitive ways to measure brain activity. So this is a schematic of electroencephalography or EEG that you can measure with sort of swim cap type of setups that's on the head. And what we're able to do is get a very time-sensitive measure of how your neurons are connecting and reorganizing their activity in time to music. So this is results from an EEG study looking at electrical potentials that are phase locking or oscillating in time, in rhythmic time with music. And we're seeing that young adults, again, college-age students, and older adults 50 and above both tend to be very good at oscillating showing brain rhythms that are exactly in time to music. And so the idea is that, right, given that we know these brain rhythms are important for learning and for memory, and that they involve the reward system of the brain, which is helpful for different kinds of learning, we're hoping that we can develop a kind of music-based intervention that, when paired with rhythmic activity that's delivered using lights, we can then design a new intervention that we can measure and that we can use to hopefully improve memory function. So how do we go about doing that? So this is using a neural network model. And so I think I will skip the details of the neural network model, but I will show you that there's a set of lights that we've built with our collaborators that are programmed to flicker in time to music. And so this is an example of what that looks like. I have an example of that here. These are some lights that are right now flickering. And I'm just going to, I don't really have anywhere else to put them, so I'm just going to put them around my neck. I look a little ridiculous. But these are the lights, and you can see they're already flickering in time to my speech. But then if I play music, try to do this without killing myself. Okay. Something like that. You can see that if I play music, the lights are starting to flicker in time to the music. And so what we're hoping to do in the next few months at Newbridge is deliver this kind of music-based intervention as a program as part of this new wave of 8-week music listening program, coupled with lights that you could install at home, and then develop EEG recordings of brain potentials before and after that intervention, so that we can measure possible improvements in memory. So I think that's the basic idea. I'm going to stop my share. I can certainly show more and talk more about it and answer any questions, but yeah, if there's interest.
I want to stop you because I think you should take the next minute or so to make it more specifically relevant that I understood it was to our residents. How are they going to participate in that?
Right, so I just shared a link in the chat. So if you're interested, please just sign up. And what we're hoping to do is in the next few months, conduct a research study that takes 8 weeks of daily listening to music while watching the lights. And so before and after those 8 weeks of daily music listening and light watching, we would do some brain measures. So we would do that at Newbridge. It would involve recording electrical potentials from the brain non-invasively, and also doing some behavioral tasks. So answering some questions, also doing a walking task. And so that's the general design of the study, is music-based intervention with neuropsychological and EEG measures before and after.
So how would people sign up for this?
So I've just put a link in the chat. So this is something that if you put your name and your contact information in that in the form that's linked there, then our lab members will be in touch with you. And I should say there are a few lab members who are here with us today. And so there's Eva and Alex and Corinna and Jacob. They're all here on this call, and they would be the Mind Lab members who would be in touch and would come and be administering the experiment and the intervention.
Okay, thank you. Let's see if there are any questions before we move on to Matt.
Yeah, please.
I have a question.
Barbara Nadish.
Would it be possible for you to actually have forms here at Newbridge as opposed to having to go online and catching the number there?
Of course, yes. So let me also, I just put an email address that you could email as well. And I'm also going to share our lab website with you. And I know that I've sent our flyers to Letitia, who I'm sure you all know. So she's got some flyers, and we can of course bring more flyers over and have them put up at Newbridge. So
okay. Letitia is in Air. So could you get them into Independent Living to Larissa so she could share them with us?
Okay, I think like the easiest way for you would be you give it to Leticia and Leticia will give it to me.
Okay, let's move on. Marlene,
I have a question about the amount of time that it would take per day.
About half an hour to an hour of the music listening during the 8 weeks. That's all you'll be doing with the light system. So
Every day or once?
The music listening will be during the 8 weeks every day, or at least most days. We'll have just a record for you to like report how much you've done each day. But yeah, the test, all the other stuff, that'll be a couple of hours, but that'll only be 2 times, once at the beginning, once at the end. For the day-to-day during the intervention, that's just the half hour to hour of listening to the music.
Thank you.
Very well.
okay, Karen. No, go ahead now.
Not everybody will qualify for this study, and I think you should explain that.
Yeah, so there are inclusion exclusion criteria. So definitely part of the initial conversation when we get in touch, we'll be having that conversation about whether you fit the pre-screening criteria.
Okay.
Thank you. Sylvia Schacht.
You can enter your information very quickly at chat. I just did it. It doesn't take long. So if you go to the chat and click on their link, you will get it quickly.
Okay. Roz Holt, you had a question or not?
Well, I did. Is this being done indoors, the walking?
Yes. Yes, it's indoors. Yeah.
And how long would you walk? Because I walk every day.
Oh yes, the walking is only for a few minutes, and that's only at the beginning, at the end of the intervention, as part of the baseline assessment.
Okay.
The music listening is not part. Walking is not part of the intervention for the music listening.
Karen, I think I might have cut you off. Did you have another question?
No, I just said thank you, but if this is being done by Hebrew Senior Life, the protocols, must be adhered to, and using the people here.
Okay, thank you. I think we'll move on. Thank you very much, Psyche, and your team.
Thank you.
Matt, we're ready for you.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm jealous of Paul's lighting up bow tie. I don't have one, but so I'll start off with a smile. It's good to see everybody. I want to start with something that's pretty serious and at the same time, something that I'm incredibly grateful to share. Over the weekend, we had an episode where a resident in a program went into cardiac arrest. And we had another resident save their life. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge the resident that did the life saving, and that's our very own Bob Witzberg. All of you that know Bob know that Bob is cool, calm, and collected, and there's no better person in the world to have next to you than Bob. And Bob jumped into action right away, and I know he took charge right away. And security did exactly what they were supposed to do. In fact, it took them 3 minutes to arrive, which is exceptional. But at the same time, in those scenarios, a second feels like a lifetime. And I'm just so grateful to Bob, as I know we are, as a whole community are. And I just wanted to take a little space on this call to acknowledge Bob and say thank you. And to all of us, this is the beauty of community. This really is. And so, as challenging as it was, and thank you to Rabbi Judy and Lori for putting time together for us to process this. At the same time, I'm just very grateful to Bob and wanted to say thank you. Okay. I'm going to move on and talk about our other favorite topic here, which is COVID. Happy to say we do not have any COVID cases in independent living. But with that, you'll notice that in my letter this week, I do outline that we don't have any cases, but I talk about going forward, how I'm not going to talk about the amount of COVID cases that are occurring on a weekly basis within the letter, unless it warrants talking about. And the reason being is, we've consistently had 1 or 2 cases now for as long as I've been in the role every single week. And this week's a little bit of an anomaly. And so it's normalized a little bit. So, the assumption should be that there's always a case somewhere around the campus from the standpoint of safety. If there's something happening that I feel like we need to know, so we can either change our precautions or put other precautions in place, or have everybody be a little more cautious about how they handle themselves within the community, I will note that in the letter. I will continue to update you here on this Zoom call, but it's a tricky situation because COVID, even though it's not normal, is somewhat becoming normalized within our society and the way we live. And so I wanted to share that with you all. Now I'm going to go through my normal COVID routine. So I'm going to share with you all what's happening here in our county. So here we are. You can see another decline over last week. The numbers have gone down 14%. And you can see that there is about a 6% positivity rate right now for all the people taking tests. You can see that we're averaging about 6 people per 100,000 individuals are testing positive for COVID. You can see that hospitalizations are down 20%. So from a county standpoint, we continue to trend in the right direction. I'm going to go up to our very popular map here. You can see here it is again, 6.3 per 100,000 for our county. If you go north, right into the city, you're looking at 6.6, so not much of a difference there. If we're going to go west a little bit, 6.8, and I'm going to take you south for a second, 6.9. So you can see there's nothing happening around us in the surrounding areas that cause great cause for concern. The numbers right now are about as low as we've seen, which is great. But at the same time, it means don't necessarily let your guard down. There's still a lot of stuff going around. I've seen a lot of colds lately, so please, please, please be careful. So with that, I'm going to do as I always do and just pause on any COVID questions for a moment.
Don't see any.
Okay, awesome. Actually, I see that Charlie just raised his hand.
Go ahead, Charlie.
This is not really related to COVID, but concerning the incident that happened this week. In most organizations that when I worked, and in a lot of large institutions, in today's world, there are defibrillators all around. And today's modern defibrillators are give you the instructions on how to use them. And they're relatively easy for anybody to use. Sure, training would always be helpful. And I know security has a defibrillator, but it seems that there's a lack of, it seems it would be useful to have some in more areas considering the size of the campus, and every second does count. So my thought and question is there any thought to looking at that kind of concept, adding defibrillators, and actually having training?
Thank you, Charlie. Victor, are you in a place to respond? I can certainly do so, but
yeah, I can respond.
Here, come over here.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I will say this, Charlie, we've done a full after action report and looked about this and talked about this, and we've got a lot of resident feedback that you can imagine post incident. And I've been really careful to try to take the emotion out of it, to make good operational decisions, make sure that we're taking care of all of our residents. So with that, I'll hand it over to Victor. We've had a lot of discussion about this.
Thank you, Matt. addressing what Charlie just said regarding the placement of AEDs. So we have a very lean team that services 170 plus acres of land with over 900 residents, patients, and members. So an emergency response is our #1 core competency as a department, and it has always been our primary focus every single day that we that we come in. Having AEDs everywhere, so I immediately started looking at purchasing more AEDs just because I wanted to do the diligence, but at the same time, proliferating the community with AEDs is really not going to do much. So just so everyone knows, our security department has 3 med bags that we audit daily that has a lot of equipment, and this equipment needs to be maintained and replaced post-incident all the time. Charlie, what you said was absolutely accurate. AEDs are now simple. They are simple, and they're designed that way. But as Rabbi Judy just said, simple does not mean easy. It does not mean easy. And in intervening when somebody is in life distress is not easy either. And it requires a lot of regular training. We did a complete after action, and I interviewed everybody and looked at video, and we were in a position where where we had our resident who was there to provide direct care, and in 45 seconds of stimuli was able to rouse our resident. That CPR, that stimuli did not resuscitate that person. It just roused them. You're not going to be able to stimulate a heart back into a rhythm by doing chest compressions. All the chest compressions are going to do is provide oxygen to the organ. So I've invited certain residents who have been inquiring about more training to take to partake in a monthly training that one of my lead EMTs provides, Brian Hutton. He's actually highly sought after in the whole organization because there is no substitution for training, routine, regular training. And, I don't want to undermine the anxiety that goes with seeing an event that many of our members saw. I see this stuff on a regular basis. I've been in this career for over 20 years. So I really, really have such an earnest empathy for anyone who sees these sorts of things. But at the same time, proliferating equipment, that sort of response isn't going to do what we want it to do. The only thing that's really going to resolve things is for people to know where the code yellow buttons are in the common areas, have security's number pre-programmed on your phone, and train if you think you are able-bodied enough to train and be a part of the response, then hey, we have some great training sessions, and please sign up. We have a couple of members that have just recently signed up for the March 22nd training. So
Victor, if I may, are we adding any AEDs?
So I was able to contact one of our vendors in Roslindale, and we were actually able to secure an extra AED. Me and Will were able to rehab it and test it. I just want to have Carthol do the inspection, and we're going to place it in front of Great Meadow Hall right next to the fire extinguisher.
Just a quick follow-up. You mentioned that there's training March 22nd. How was that communicated? I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah, so it's basically basically, you know, my team has been entrusted with training a lot of clinical staff in AL in the healthcare. We've never opened it up to independent living members, but I'm of the mind that, you know, the more the merrier, you know. So if you're interested, please let me know. I'm not going to, my team is not here for entertainment. If you are here and you really want to learn and get a CPR card and learn from the best and invest your time in learning, contact me and we, you know, we'll sign you up for one of these classes. And like I said,
thank you,
Brian.
Hey, let's move on and take some more questions. So this is a long subject, I think, that we could back to. Meyer, Fine, and then Anna Marcus.
So just one question on the COVID. You always give the number of cases per 100,000. How many 100,000 are in Norfolk County?
Do you happen to know?
No, I don't.
I'm sure we can look. Sure, we can look that up fairly quickly.
Okay, well, go ahead, Anna.
Two questions, Vic. When on the 22nd is the security training? And where?
It is 8:30 to noon. It's in Great Meadow Hall. And depending on how many people are signed up, we actually have a very small class so far. We can get you up by like 11:30.
And I wanted to ask one other thing. For those of us who are already trained, I take it the training has changed dramatically over the years.
It's my favorite thing about emergency response. It's constantly evolving.
Okay, so if we were trained 20 years ago, we should come.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, so I'm gonna just say a couple things and then we're gonna close the subject unless anybody else has any questions. CPR is the thing that is going to be called upon more often than not. The defibrillators, you know, that's a very dire situation at that point. I mean, that's your Hail Mary pass. Security will be on site at that point with the defibrillators. God forbid we ever need them, but we have them, they're tested, and these security guys, I mean, they are trained to respond in crisis. And that's what this is about. And so I know this is super scary. I know it came really close to hitting home for a lot of people. You couldn't be in a better place. You really couldn't. If this were to happen in your private home, not in a community, this would not have been the outcome or the response. So we're in this thing together. I hear you loud and clear. Victor and I are committed to making sure that we have all the bases covered. The last thing I ever want to do is think that there is something that I personally could have done better to help this community. And I know Victor feels the same way.
Is the CPR training open to employees?
Yes, it's primarily for employees, but now we're opening it up to residents. And like and Matt knows this, professional development has tried to steal my guy from me because of how great he is. No, I'm not even kidding you. I'm so excited for the members who are going to be taking part of this training. So
excellent.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. I want to take a moment just to recognize the phenomenal events that were occurring across the campus for Purim. Rabbi Judy, well done for those of you that were there. She dressed up as a server and nobody had a clue that it was her, which is just incredible. And speaking of servers, I have an interesting stat that I want to share. Everybody knows we had a hard time with staffing, particularly in culinary, and you were all super patient. Since November 15th, 2022, we've hired 24 culinary staff, which is just incredible. So I want to put that out there so everybody recognizes the work that has happened there. I also want to share that as of April 1st, the process of separating Chef Eileen and the kitchen's function to just be focused on independent living and assisted living will be complete. That means assisted living and independent living will be its own separate culinary entity, and HRC, or the healthcare center, will be its own separate culinary entity. And so Roslyn Dale and the healthcare center here will be one, and Island Ale will be one. This is phenomenal because it allows Chef Eileen to really focus on independent living and assisted living as well as her team. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while. Third Plus came in and said, this is something that you really got to do. Chef Eileen has made it happen. So as of April 1st, that process will be complete. So when you see her around, huge kudos to her, because that is a massive undertaking. And then lastly, I thought you would all be interested in knowing where the CEO search for Hebrew Senior Life stands. And I can tell you that it has been down to, I think, 4 candidates, and the interviews are continuing as we speak. And hopefully, you know, in the next month or two, we'll have an understanding of who the new leader of the helm will be. So, but that's been a very interesting process, and those individuals have just been going through hours and hours and hours of interviews. And there's a retained search committee that has gone out along with the board to try to find the new potential CEO candidates. And that's it for my updates, and I'm happy as always to take any questions that anybody may have.
Okay, don't see any.
Just a
On the subject. So we'll see you all next week.
Take care, everyone.
I'll get out of this. Okay, let me.